you how to make guacamole. This is my go-to guacamole recipe. I have another and it uses roasted vegetables and it takes a few extra steps, but totally worth it. Today, however, I'm gonna give you the real fast, keeping it simple, go-to guacamole recipe that I just love. You'll need 2 avocados, 2 tomatoes, 2 jalapenos. We'll only use half the lime, but we'll obviously you can't buy half a lime at the store. And then some salt and some cilantro. Oh, and the onion. So let's get started. I've already rinsed off all my vegetables and my cilantro. It's all rinsed off and patted dry. I will start by cutting my avocados. Oh, I want to point out when you choose your avocado, if you're going to do your guacamole in a couple days, it can have a little green on it. That's fine. But these 2 don't have any green on them. And when I squeeze them, there's just a little bit of a give. Those are good. Those are perfect. I have bought them green before when I know I'm not going to want to use it for a couple days, and that way they can ripen at home. If you're squeezing it, it feels like your thumb's about to go through it, leave it alone. You don't want anything to do with that. So anyway, we're going to cut our avocado in half. Now, if I was going to do this in slices for, let's say, with a tortilla or on the side of a dish, I would have cut it long ways, and I don't think there's really a wrong way to do it, so I can slice my avocado in cute little slices. However, here, since I'm making guacamole out of it, I like to just squeeze it out. I don't really want to struggle. So, because I'm going to mash it anyway, so I'm not concerned about it. I do save my cilantro bag, and that's where I will throw out whatever I'm getting rid of, so I'm not making multiple trips to the garbage can. Okay, so then we've got this little ball. I know some people will save this ball to keep their guacamole fresh. I've never known for that to work for me, so I don't worry about it. So I will keep squeezing. And then this one I'll cut the other way so you can see it really doesn't matter. Unless, of course, like I said, you're going to use it like in tacos or you want the pretty slices. Then, of course, that's where this would come in. Again, I'm just going to use it, and I'm going to mash it anyway, so I'm squeezing it out. Okay, so I've got that in there. I'm going to take my fork, and I'm going to mash it. If you've got a potato masher, you can use that as well. I just like to use my fork. So I put it in here and you're mashing it up. And here's where you decide if you want it chunky, if you want it, creamier, and go with that. Oops. Okay, so I've got my avocado mashed down. Now I'm going to go ahead and add my onion. This, of course, the rest of this, it's really, you've got to eyeball it. I had 2 large avocados, so I'm going to probably use all that tomato. I won't know until I cut it up. And if I had smaller avocados, I'd probably use 3 of them instead of the 2. Here, you're going to dice this down. And it's, if you don't like onion, leave it out. I mean, you obviously won't enjoy it if you put it in. But this, I think, really adds, and I really love using it. I've got about a 4th onion here. And, I won't know till I get in there if I'm going to use it all, but I like to have it on hand just so I'm not wishing there was a little more onion in there. I am an onion lover. That's fair to point out. So I'll grab a good handful. And I'll mix it up in there. It looks like I want a little more onion. That's probably all I'll put in there. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dice up my jalapeno. Now, I like jalapenos because I like the taste they bring to the guacamole. Some people prefer the serrano. It's spicier, but it's completely your preference. If you wanted to add dimension, you can do 1 jalapeno, 1 serrano. It's up to you. Go with it. I like to cut mine. Be careful. as you're cutting these, not to get your hands too much in the seeds. You may end up with spicy fingers, and then inevitably rub your eye, which is something you will regret very soon after. I like to cut this down pretty small because I don't really want to bite into a gigantor chunk of jalapeno, though I do want the spice in there. So I like to cut them down. See that? Then no one's getting a big slice of jalapeno on top of their chip. Unless, well, if you like it, go for it. All right, so then put those in there. Probably start with about that many. Now it's about 1.5 of them there. My husband likes it spicy. Mix it in there. The reason I do it in this order too is I don't necessarily want my tomato getting completely mushed by being stirred so often. So I like to add it towards the end. That's a good amount, I think. That's a good amount. You know what? I'm just gonna go big or go home. I'm putting it all in there. Okay. There we go. And now I'm gonna go ahead and add my cilantro. And I like to just peel off the leaves and add it right in. And I'll add some of them whole because it looks pretty. But sometimes, I mean many times actually, I will go ahead and just cut them down a little bit. Take them off the leaf, then just chop them down just a little bit. Just roughly chop them to make them a little smaller, and that's personal preference. I do take the leaves off the stem. I'm sure you've noticed that. The stem is edible, and many cuisines will use it with the stem. And if I'm cooking the cilantro, I'll leave the stem on. But when it's something fresh like this, I just don't want to bite onto a stem. So I like to remove it. Okay, so I'll take a handful, throw it in there. Mix it in good. And I'll tell you, if you don't like cilantro, obviously leave it out. But my word, I think it adds so much to the guacamole. Add just a little more. There, I think that'll be good. Okay. Now I'm going to move this aside so that I can have room for my tomatoes. So I've got my tomato here, and I'm just going to slice it down and dice it. Again, no one wants a gigantic chunk of tomato on there. Now it's mixing in there, and that brings, you know, besides awesome taste, it also brings such a pretty color to the guacamole. I know some people may not like tomato, but I just think it just makes it look so attractive to have it on there. Okay, so that looks like it's just enough tomato. And now I'm gonna add my limon, my lime. I usually use about a half, so I'll start with that. I can always add more. Can't take it out if you overdo it, but this is great because besides bringing some zest to the guacamole, it also binds everything together. I really like it. Now, you can do it by just squeezing it, or I've got this lime press, lemon press, and I put it all in there because I like it. Then just mix it in. Look at that. That's so pretty. I almost don't want anyone eating it. And now the salt. Now the salt is really to taste. I love just the avocado by itself, so I don't really need much salt. Although I know my household does like the salt. So I tend to just put a couple little twists here. Salt. Mix it in. And then give it a taste. And if you feel it needs a little more, add it. If you are happy, then you're done. And now, purely for looks, little finishing touch, I like to add some cilantro just in the middle to make it look pretty and appetizing. And there you have it, your homemade guacamole. If you enjoyed this video, you can check out my other videos here, and you can feel free to subscribe here. Thank you for cooking with Meaty.